Have you ever found yourself looking at a problem and just thinking, ugh, it's always a few bad apples that ruin it for everyone? Well, it turns out that's not just a random thought. It's actually a super common glitch in our human software. So today, let's deconstruct one of the biggest mental traps we all fall into.
So, let me set the scene for you. This quote comes from a woman named Loes. It's the morning after New Year's Eve, and she's looking at all the leftover firework debris on her street. And for her, the cause is crystal clear. A few careless people are to blame. She calls them rotten apples.
But here's where we need to pause. What if that immediate jump to blame isn't the answer? What if it's actually a symptom, an error in our own thinking? What if the real problem isn't the so-called rotten apples, but the mental shortcut we take to judge them in the first place?
So let's stick with Loes' situation for a minute. She's quick to blame the rotten apples for the mess, right? But then, when she's asked about the official city cleaners, she defends them. She says they do fine work. It's this fascinating split. She attacks the individuals, but protects the system.
You can really see the contradiction here, can't you? On one hand, she's passing this really harsh moral sentence on her neighbors, but on the other, she completely defends the authority, the city. She even says it's her job to call them if they miss something. This just perfectly exposes this weird bias in her thinking. So to really understand why we all do this, why we fall into this trap, we need to pop the hood and look at the mental blueprint. We're going to use 3 different models to pinpoint exactly where our thinking goes off the rails.
We've managed to isolate 3 specific glitches in this kind of thinking. We're going to break them down one by one: the complex equivalent, the polluted interface, and the incoherent nexus. Sounds complicated, but trust me, it's not.
All right, glitch number 1. This one comes from the world of neuro-linguistic programming, or NLP. It's called a complex equivalent, and it's basically a mental shortcut where our brain just decides that one thing means the same as something else, even if they're totally different.
For Loes, this glitch creates this really simple but really powerful equation in her head. See, leftover fireworks aren't just trash to her, no way. In her mind, they are literally the same thing as morally bad people, those rotten apples. She's not seeing a situation, she's seeing a deep character flaw. Okay, on to glitch number 2, which we call a polluted interface. Think about your brain like a computer. The input, the raw data, is just paper and powder on the street. That's it. But Loes' mental interface is, well, polluted with all her existing judgments. So it immediately spits out this supercharged output. This is moral decay. She's not seeing what's actually there. She's seeing what it means to her.
And the third glitch? We're calling it an incoherent nexus. Here's what's happening. Loes says something that sounds really unifying, like, we are all responsible for our community. But what she feels is total separation, judgment, and disgust for those rotten apples. And there's the paradox, right? You can't claim to be responsible for the whole community, while at the same time emotionally kicking a part of it out. It just creates this draining internal conflict.
So, we've diagnosed the glitches. Now for the fun part. How do we fix them? This is where we get to design an upgrade, a way to rewrite our own mental code so we can create a super version of ourselves, one that's free from these annoying and frustrating thought traps.
Just look at what this software upgrade looks like side by side. The old code, it's all about trash equals bad people. It sees a moral insult everywhere. But the new code, it's completely different. It sees the trash as just objective feedback. It's the result of a party and an incomplete cleanup process. That's it. You move from judging someone's character to simply analyzing a situation. Now, installing this new code isn't automatic. You have to do it consciously. It's a simple 3-step process that shifts your whole perspective, moving you away from frustration and towards being effective. Let's walk through it.
First, you gotta recalibrate your interface. See the firework mess not as a personal attack, but as neutral feedback. Second, think systemically. It's not us, the good people, versus them, the bad people. It's one whole system that includes both the partiers and the city cleaners. And third, restore coherence. Just drop the judgment, pick up the trash, or call the city because you want a clean street, not because you're ticked off at somebody.
The action is the same, but the charge is gone. This right here is the key takeaway. With this upgrade, you might still end up calling the city. The action doesn't change, but all that negative emotional energy, it's gone. You're no longer wasting your precious energy on being frustrated. You're just acting from a place of ownership.
You know, this whole rotten apple glitch we've been talking about, it actually has a formal name in psychology. It's called the fundamental attribution error. It's this super well-documented bias where we tend to explain other people's behavior based on their fundamental character, but we explain our own behavior based on our circumstances.
And here's how it plays out every single day. When someone else makes a mistake, like leaving a mess, our first thought is about their character. Ugh, they're just lazy, rotten apples. But if we do the exact same thing, oh, well then we blame the situation. I was just having a bad day, or I was in a huge rush. We give ourselves a pass that we absolutely deny to other people.
And that brings us to the final, beautiful irony of it all. Loes is angry at what she sees as the carelessness of a whole group of people, a generalization. But to even feel that anger, she has to make a sweeping generalization about them, calling them all rotten apples. So, the very act of being angry at a generalization forces you to make one of your own. It's a perfect mental loop. The next time you spot a rotten apple, maybe the first question you should ask is, what glitch is running in my own software right now?